Whenever we suffer a setback, whenever we go through any type of pain or suffering, we are gaslighted and told that we must be around people, we must speak to other people, we must interact and so on, we must force ourselves out. But what if we did the opposite? What if isolation and hiding away, going off grid and trying to figure out who we really are could be the solution? Because I believe isolation, forced isolation through ourselves, through strict boundaries, no contact and so on, going off grid, has a better chance of improving you and saving your life than being around people. Isn't that strange? Because I think being around people is bullshit. Forcing yourself to socialize, forcing yourself to do these things is bullshit. And speaking of which, if you're sick and tired of the fake positivity, the gaslighting and the bullshit, and want to level up and improve and save your life for the better, join my free community, the No Bullshit Society. The link's in the description and the pinned comment just down below. Now, this is very unconventional. This is obviously not medical advice. This is through my own experience and largely the experience of most other people who don't like toxic positivity, who don't like fluff, who don't like reading motivational quotes and feeling nothing. These are for the people that are truly fed up. This is for the people that want to feel understood. And a fantastic and underrated way to do so is isolation. It's to do nothing away from everybody else. It's to go out into nature. It is to do your own thing. Now, obviously, the world experienced isolation, forced isolation in 2020 and beyond. But this is different. This is turning that phone off, stepping away from technology, and being alone with your thoughts. A good book, a glass of wine, or just a simple meditation. When you do this and stay away and lock yourself away, something incredible happens, but also something painful. I've done this many times in my life, and we think sometimes of the teenager going through their first heartbreak. Leave me alone, mom, dad, and they run to their bedroom and they cry in their pillow because they just want to be left alone. This is kind of the same thing. Because hear me out. A few years ago, I was a terrible gambling addict. And I tried everything to quit. I tried prayer. I tried Gamblers Anonymous. I read every book. Nothing worked. And then the final time I gambled, which was one of the worst gambling experiences I ever had, enough was enough. It was Saturday evening. It was raining, wet and cold. And I came home alone. And I turned my phone off. And I sat in my bedroom in darkness, feeling sorry for myself and miserable. But I was in isolation. Originally, the isolation was very scary. It was dark. It was gloomy. It was early spring. And it was still cold. And yet, the man I turned into afterwards changed my life. Had I not done that forced isolation, I guarantee I would still be a gambling addict. Now, I'm not saying this is going to magically change your life. I don't have a magic wand and I don't have all the answers. But for me, what happened there? Well, I was so humiliated, so upset, that I came back and I just lay on my bed, which was a source of comfort in the darkness, and just wept, cried. And when the tears stopped and the sobbing halted, I asked myself, what the hell am I doing? I'm not a gambling addict. Why do I gamble? And I had a conversation with myself. You see, when you're around other people, when you're forcing yourself everywhere and anywhere, you are 100% practicing emotional avoidance. It is not easy to discuss your problems with other people. First of all, people don't want to hear it. Secondly, people don't have a clue what to say. And thirdly, they don't offer real value. The greatest conversation you will ever have is with yourself, because it's the most honest, brutal, and the most transformative. So in that darkness, I said, why am I doing this? How have I done this? 14 years. What can I change? How can I grow? And with that, things compounded. Things changed. And without hesitation, I stepped out a new man a day or so later. And I've never gambled since. I have never, ever stepped foot into a casino. And there's no willpower, nothing. I have no desire to ever do it again. This forced isolation forced me to face my demons. Forced me to face the humiliation of all that money I lost. All the lies, all the deception, all the shame. And it was painful to the ego. It was painful to my emotions. It was painful throughout. I stared directly into my own personal hell. But as time went on, only a few hours, that personal hell, that black hole wasn't as frightening as before. Wasn't as intimidating. And then logic took over. Then answers came to me. The motivation. Then a plan. I'm going to ban myself from these casinos. I'm going to delete all these apps. I'm going to unsubscribe from all these emails. I'm going to not walk into these places for 21 days. Boom. My life changed and reset. A 14-year addiction. No therapy. No counseling. No program. Me. Because if you subscribe to this channel, you made it this far in this video, you have self-awareness. You're empathetic. You want to grow. You want to change. You want to do the unconventional. Emotional avoidance and being around people would have encouraged me to keep gambling. I could have been around supportive people who have told me, don't do it, don't gamble, sure, and I would have ignored any of them, told them to go F themselves, and still gone to the casino. That's the difference. Let me give you another example. I walked away from a toxic relationship in 2019. It was the springboard and the catalyst to become a coach and inspire millions of people to do the same. But did you know that I tried to walk away a previous time? The first time I tried to walk away was a year into the relationship. It was in January. I had enough. I couldn't take it anymore. And I had no idea about no contact, no idea about narcissists, and I half-assed it. But what did I do? I surrounded myself with people. I surrounded myself with friends and family because I was too afraid to be on my own. I was too scared to face the music and the truth. Instead, I distracted myself with socializing. At the time, distracted myself with heavy, abusive gambling as well. And I just wanted to be around people out in society, out in the world, so on and so forth. What did that do? It slowly but surely let my guard down, manipulated and gaslighted me to think that I was the issue and I was being too harsh. And I slid slowly but surely back in to letting that narcissist and relationship reconvene for round 2 of the worst toxic relationship dynamic ever. So being out, doing these things, forced me to go back. And obviously I take responsibility as well. Weak boundaries and so on. But why did the second time work? Well, the second time was even harder to walk away. There was even more toxic shame from people saying, no, you got to stay, you got to put up with it, blah, blah, blah. What changed? I'll tell you what changed. Forced isolation. I made no plans. I spoke to nobody. I made no effort, and I went off grid. The first weekend was so difficult, and I was so running on adrenaline and so confused that I said to myself foolishly, if I can't see this through, I'll go back to the Mr. Familiar. Being alone is too scary. I'm too single. I'm miserable. Yeah, that's the bullshit I told myself. But when I pushed through that, that's the hell, that's the vortex, that's the black hole, I started falling in love with my own company. I started becoming my own best friend. I started enjoying my money. I started treating myself to a nice watch and things that I never ever would have purchased. I started traveling alone. I started discovering who I really was. And lo and behold, when 6 months later, lockdowns in the world happened and my dad tragically died, I was actually better equipped to deal with that grief and suffering from originally facing the demons of that toxic relationship. And once again, where do you think I approached that grief with my dad? Where do you think I approached that tragedy, the lead up? That's right, alone. The world shut down. That was forced isolation. So I did forced isolation and personal isolation. And every single time I faced the music, I faced the fear, I faced the suffering, boom, changed my life. I've become stronger, more resilient, and more determined. And recently I've had another personal struggle in hell, and I couldn't believe how I still consistently showed up, creating content, providing value in my community, coaching, and so much more. People said to me, how the hell did you do it? I said, I'm resilient and I persevere. So you can surround yourself with 1,000 people and still feel alone. You could be with loved ones who encourage you and motivate you, but it could have absolutely no bloody influence on your change. Or you can isolate, turn the phone off, open books, meditate, or stare into the abyss, and the answers will come to you. Once you shut out the noise, once you shut out people, once you face your personal truth, everything changes. Because you've got two choices there. You can bullshit yourself and delude yourself to say you're not the problem, everyone else is, or you could take responsibility. I took responsibility that I was as much to blame in that toxic relationship as them, but they were never going to leave. I had to be the one to get out, and not just get out and stay away forever. I had to be the one to take responsibility that gambling was manipulating to me through movies and the industry and so on, but I had the choice to stop going. And I can do this. In 6 years sober now, it's been life-changing. And there's other addictions I've been, and there's other things I've overcome. The tragic death of my dad in isolation, didn't bury him for months, couldn't say goodbye to him, had to deal with all hospital calls myself on the phone, all alone. But you know what? Being around people, the wrong people especially, for the sake of it, would have held me back. And now I have the confidence and the ability to say I can record videos, I can coach people, I can handle, God forbid, life's challenges, and I can offer the wisdom to other people who don't feel strong enough. And trust me, if you don't feel strong enough, take me as your inspiration. If I can do it, so can you. The alternative is the fluff, the fake positivity, and all the bullshit. If you're sick and tired of all that bullshit, join my free community where we have these discussions, inspire each other, and hold each other accountable to that level of standard that we can do anything and face anything, even alone. And here's the thing, if you can face anything alone, think what else you can do. Join for free now. The link's in the description and pinned comment below. Again, there's exceptions. If you suffer immensely with your mental health, if you are on medication, if you suffer with anxiety, it's not for you, but for the masses who are ready to learn to love, to be on their own, and then go back to society a different, transformed person with boundaries, standards, and knowing that being alone isn't that bad, being on your own is okay, being your own best friend is the best thing you can do, then go for it. I am not shitting you here. It will change your life and make you successful, prosperous, attractive, confident, and assertive. The very things you need to survive and thrive in the world.